So Venom Let There Be Carnage is finally out in the UK, which means I finally got a chance to see it. And just a reminder, these videos are made possible by my supporters on this platform, so if you do want to support me, be sure to hit that big, beautiful subscribe button. And be sure to check out the Patreon link in the description below. Now, the road to this one's been kind of weird. I've kept my expectations really low. This isn't my ideal version of Venom. This is not my ideal universe for this to take place in. These are not ideal Venom movies as far as I'm concerned. And no, Venom Let There Be Carnage is not the Venom vs. Carnage movie I dreamt about while reading Carnage's first appearance comic books. And that is in large part because it simply couldn't be, because there's no Spider-Man here. Right out the gate, this could not be what I had in mind. But I don't watch these movies to get validation for my own ideas. So Venom Let There Be Carnage as a movie on its own terms, how does it really hold up? There's always the jokes about the Venom movies that they're cinema, that, you know, Martin Scorsese approves and all that. Simply because the first film was a very cynical product with the occasional burst of surprising creativity in there. I feel that that's a joke that's gonna get old pretty fast though. So I'm gonna cut through the sarcasm and say that Venom Let There Be Carnage is good. It's a good movie. I actually really enjoyed it. It's kind of weird that films of different genres and different target audiences have existed as long as they have, and that we still have to preface the whole, yeah, I know this is not an intellectually stimulating film, but it's good. But I enjoyed it. It's weird how we act as though good films that are not exactly smartly made or challenging in any way are like a recent thing, as though silly entertainment hasn't been like a genre for like almost a century now. I think more than that. I think getting even close to a couple of centuries even. Venom Let There Be Carnage is goofy, it's comedic, it's silly, it's over the top, and all by its own admission, and given that those are the terms it sets out to do, it succeeds at pretty much all of it. I've seen a lot of folks saying if you like the first Venom movie, you'll like this one, but what I find interesting there is that this film is completely different to the first one. Like, the entire style of this movie is entirely different. You can tell that there's a new creative force behind this one. You can tell that there's been a change in direction. The first Venom tried to retain all of the hallmarks of the contemporary serious superhero blockbuster. Relevant themes such as science and the environment and a philosophical villain. A very sort of gritty aesthetic to it. Venom Let There Be Carnage has absolutely none of that. It keeps things small and tells stories of different relationships throughout the film, and that's what makes this work. It's the dynamic between Eddie Brock and Venom. It's the dynamic between Cletus Kasady, Carnage, and Shriek. And they find new ways to keep it fun and fresh and creative. It does feel like there is something of a cap on the creativity in places. I still feel that there's just a little bit further they could take all of this. But you're getting like a small taster of all good ideas. Eddie and Venom's dysfunctional living arrangements. Venom exploring the world through his own eyes without Eddie Brock. This sick, vile, murderous psychopath getting his hands on a symbiote. These are all fun concepts to explore, and the film explores those concepts to an extent. It explores them just enough, but it doesn't necessarily indulge them. So on the bright side, you're never going to end up bored and the film doesn't feel slow. However, I just feel like there is more that they could have gotten out of these. Particularly when Venom and Carnage are finally on screen together, which is only in the third act. If you were wanting this to be a lot of Venom and Carnage fighting each other, that's not until the final battle. And I will say that's probably my main detraction of this film would be I wish there was more of Venom versus Carnage. I wish we saw more of them fighting. Even in that final battle itself, it doesn't feel entirely satisfying. The film does just enough to be a satisfying good time, but I just feel like there's a little more that could be wrung out of this. The violent action sequences, yeah, they would have benefited from an R rating. Particularly the first scene of Carnage breaking out of jail. You can see so many moments where there would be blood if this were an R-rated film, and there just isn't. And it's like, oh, this could have, you know, they could have gone Sam Raimi Evil Dead with this. But it's like, okay, I can see why a kid would want to see this film. I can see why, if I were a kid, I would have enjoyed it. And like, yeah, what's here is perfectly functional and entertaining, but it's like, I would love to see like an R-rated director's cut. Even if it just means there's the occasional splattering of blood or something in the film, I want to see that. I was a bit concerned about having two villains. When Shriek was announced for this movie, I was a little concerned. I was like, okay, I wanted Venom v Carnage, now we're introducing this third element into that mix. But actually, it worked really, really well. So, while Venom and Carnage don't throw down until the final act of the film, there is a substantial amount of Cletus Kasady and kind of Carnage in there. And there's this really interesting sort of three-way relationship between Carnage and Cletus and Shriek. And I guess I won't give too much away until the spoiler section. So I'm gonna wrap up the spoiler-free section and say that Venom Let There Be Carnage. It's got hammy performances, over-the-top action sequences, and a simplistic story. And if that sounds good to you, then this movie's for you. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. It's a very enjoyable, entertaining, and satisfying film. I think it is held back a little bit by its short runtime and its PG-13 rating, but what's here is solid. I do have some issues with it, and just narrative choices that they made, but I can't talk about those without spoiling it, so we're gonna go into the spoiler section of the video now. I would do the usual shouting spoiler time section, but my voice is shut, it's not gonna do it. So I'd rather use what is left of my voice to just talk about the film. So, we're in the spoiler zone now. The number one thing I didn't like, they fucking killed Carnage. Like, it's one thing that you have the Venom v Carnage fight be the final battle and have it be kind of as short as it is, but then a lot of that fight is spent with just Eddie and Cletus without their symbiotes just fighting each other in the church. And like, yeah, like they kill off Carnage. Carnage has such mileage as a character. And he's meant to be one of the most powerful and dangerous Spider-Man enemies, but he's killed after his first confrontation with Venom. And that just sucks. Like, Carnage is Venom's nemesis. He could play a good small role in later films that aren't necessarily about him, and it's such a waste. It's such a waste to just kill him off. I love the fact that he wanted to have a wedding with Shriek, and that, you know, like, the Carnage symbiote was like, okay, one guest each, and like, Carnage chooses Venom, and Cletus chooses Eddie, and Shriek chooses Mulligan because he's the officer that shot her in the eye. I also really loved the animated segments where they were showing Cletus's childhood. Like, I feel like those flashbacks are definitely what would enter kind of the R-rated territory, but I feel like the workaround of having them animated was actually really clever and a lot of fun and just really creative. There is quite a drastic change in the lore that at first I didn't really notice too much until they drew like a great deal of attention to it. So in this film, Cletus is very much in love with Shriek, but Carnage isn't. And Carnage is seriously abusive towards her. Like, it's crazy to think. This film did the Joker and Harley Quinn's relationship better than the DC Extended Universe did. Holy crap, Venom 2, everybody. A PG-13 Venom v Carnage movie got the Joker and Harley Quinn's abusive relationship better than the DCE. Holy fuck. But the fact that Cletus loves her and Carnage doesn't means that they're not really a perfect match. And that is something that's very much used to defeat them, is Venom points out, wait, they're not a perfect match. And there's a point where fucking Cletus is begging Carnage not to kill Shriek. And it's like, okay, so a big part of Carnage's character in the comics was that Cletus and Carnage are a perfect match, to the point where they don't even see themselves as separate entities anymore. That's part of what makes Carnage so dangerous. And the fact that they didn't go through with that in this movie, and the fact that they even used the fact that they're not a perfect match as the way that Venom defeats them, yeah, like that kind of goes pretty much directly against the character of Carnage. It's forgivable, as I think, like, they do change things from comics to films. I'm just not sure if that was too far or not. But as it stands, it's only a brief moment, and it's literally only in Carnage's defeat. But I think, yeah, the decision to kill off Carnage and to do it this way does not bode well with me. However, I do like the moment where Eddie and Venom both together say, "We're the lethal protector." And to be fair, the moment where Venom kills Carnage is really cool. Where, like, Carnage is like, "I just wanted you to be my friend," and Eddie's like, "I'm sorry." And then Venom's just like, "Fuck this guy," and then bites his head off. I love Venom. Venom is fucking lovable in this movie. But then there is probably one of the most exciting parts of the films is the after credits. Venom warps into a new location, suggesting that he's transcended through the multiverse, and there, on the TV, is Spider-Man. Whether that means that Venom will be making an appearance in Spider-Man No Way Home, or that Spider-Man will be the adversary of Venom 3, which I think is a better way to go. Okay, that works. We know that Venom and Spider-Man are gonna meet. That's really exciting. Really, really fucking exciting, and I can't wait for that. And it's like, okay, if they were gonna cap the Venom movies off at like a trilogy, and I think that's a smart place to cap it off, I guess that actually makes it fair for Carnage's death. So the first film you've got Riot as the villain, the second film you've got Carnage, and in the third film you've got Spider-Man. That's how you top Carnage. How do you top Venom v Carnage? Venom v Spider-Man. Even title the movie Venom v Spider-Man. That would be amazing. But then the question is, who are they going to team up against? You know, because like the idea is that they're probably going to be buddies before the end of it. Carnage would be the perfect person for them to team up against, because that's the way the Carnage first appearance comic went, and that comic is arguably as much fun as you can have reading a comic. I mean, a really clever thing would be if they did like Venom and Spider-Man team up against the Sinister Six. There's a lot going on. There's potential for that. I mean, we're going to see the Sinister Six in Spider-Man No Way Home, but I can't see Venom fitting into all that unless he does. Maybe Venom is going to make a surprise appearance. Who knows? Who knows? I'd be thrilled if he did. But personally, I think this after credits is setting up Venom 3 being Venom v Spider-Man. Well, anyways, I'm really excited for the future of the Venom series. I'm really excited to see Venom joining the MCU, and I really enjoyed this recent installment. Venom Let There Be Carnage is good. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, good stuff, 2 thumbs up, I'm happy. So what do you guys think? If you enjoyed this video and you want to support more like it, be sure to hit that big, beautiful subscribe button. And of course, in the description below are links to different social media feeds, including the Patreon. If you're feeling extra generous, like the following people, who are David 20 Covers, JK Strife, Marcus Ward, Sirius the Skeptic, Biotinarts, Mr. SP, Sergio, George is Lost, Legendary Ray Ray, Adam Myers, and Fayalan Schwarzentraub. Thank you guys, you are the best of the best, but as for the rest of you, thank you so much for watching guys, and have a great day.